the Salford City Reds.
Well, I think just like the coach, the Crusaders will have enjoyed the drink at half-time. They worked so hard, particularly defending their own line, and that's where the greatest element of fatigue comes in rugby league. Not only the physical effort, but the mental worry that's involved in keeping your opponents from getting over your own try line. As John Wilshere now comes out, perhaps the man taking on the goal-kicking responsibilities for this Salford side in the second 40 minutes.
Well, I wonder if they'll rue those missed goals from Jordan Turner in the first half. None of them particularly difficult. And then Wilshere relieving him of the goal-kicking duties and landing his first attempt. Just the 4 points in it. And so much to play for this season in National League One. Both these clubs looking for a Super League place. And Salford City Reds knowing that their cause will certainly be strengthened with a grand final victory at the end of the season and an imposing performance in National League One. But they haven't managed to impose themselves on this division so far. They're joint leaders ahead of Halifax on points difference. Halifax, in actual facts, have outscored Salford so far this season. 234 points from Halifax, 190 so far, well, not including tonight's performance from the Salford City Reds. So that just shows how close this competition is. And Sheffield Eagles able to hold Salford City Reds to a draw as well a couple of weeks ago. So it just shows that it's going to be tough all the way along for Salford.
Well, at times perhaps the Reds could have used the weather as an excuse, and one of the reasons why they haven't been able to put so many points on the board. That won't be the case tonight. Perfect conditions and a pretty perfect kick.
And Van Dijk's kick is chased by Duggan, and Fitzpatrick happy to see that one bounce over the dead ball line. But Jace Van Dijk has got a bit of a breeze at his back in this second half, so maybe that's one of the plans from the Crusaders. With a breeze blowing, cooling things down here. Another lovely evening. Long may this continue. Suspect it won't, but anyway, let's make the most of it. These two sides certainly are making the most of great conditions to play in a wonderful pitch as well. Really does look in great nick.
Just to pick you up on your point about Salford, it happened to Widnes when they got relegated from Super League. That first season I played with them, and every team that was the opponents of Widnes raised the game because they wanted to play against the team of superstars. Many of these Salford players played with them last year in the Super League, and the Celtic players want to prove themselves against some of the better players in any league.
Lennon just popping the ball up to Tony Duggan, and then it's Lennon again with the scoot. Welsh international Lennon, very proud of his Welsh heritage, his mum coming from Gwent. And here's Aaron Summers. Just inside their own 40 now, the Crusaders. Dalcourt trying to get away from Wilshere. Wilshere just doing enough.
One of the reasons why Dalcourt looks dangerous, Bill, when he gets the ball, he changes direction just before he receives possession. And now in the second set of the second half, the Crusaders now looking to run it on the last. Okay, here comes the kick.
Oh, and again they've kicked to White, and again it's bounced up for White, and he could be away again. He is, he's clear, he won't be caught. Blackwood coming across, but you won't stop Paul White when you give him an opportunity like that. Oh, they won't learn the lesson. That's about the fourth time they've kicked to Paul White, and the second time he's landed the try. And have a cigar, Mr. White. And what a way to start the second half. And you just saw when Duggan put that kick in, you thought, oh no, that could be the wrong option, and it was.
Well, it's a little bit like rugby league roulette when you kick the ball on the last play. You're hoping that it's going to spin in your favour, but for the second time in this game, the ball has bounced up kindly for Paul White. And well, the pictures tell the story, don't they? He has so much speed, none of the players and the Celtic Crusaders can get anywhere near to him. There's pressure from some of the players coming through. Neil Wyatt's the closest one to him, but when he gets possession, there's good control in his technique and the good awareness of where he needs to be to make this kick as easy as possible.
So he really is on course for a season's best try tally. Paul White up to 15 now. And John Wilshere with this conversion attempt to give Salford the lead for the first time tonight. They've trailed since the 3rd minute of the game when Neil Wyatt scored. So it just shows the lengths they've had to go to get in front in this game, and Wiltshire obliges, and Salford ahead by 20 points to 18. You cannot kick the ball directly to a speedster like Paul White, and Sean McRae must be so glad he's got him in his side.
The Celtic Crusaders took the gamble, they took it right to the line, hoping one of the Salford players would pose an opportunity, but Paul White, it's only going to be one result when he gets the ball in his hand in open space. Great speed from a very, very talented player.
Yep, they had him at Huddersfield Giants and at Wakefield. Well, tries like he's shown tonight will make him a big favourite here at the Reds as well. That's what they want to see. Pace and players taking off, and Paul White certainly did that. So they're ahead for the first time at Salford. And now it's Celtic with a bit of thinking to do. Sidlow, good offload. Fitzpatrick, that's the fifth tackle. And it's Alka with the kick. And Blackwood allows that one to drift over his head, gathers it on the bounce. And up to the 20 metres line. Well, let's find out the half-time news from the pitch side. Let's go down and join Ben Pro.
John Dixon in that Celtic Crusaders dressing room was talking about patience and composure, so maybe he won't be too pleased with that kick from Tony Duggan that led to the Salford try in that second half. He said that they were forcing passes when they just weren't on, and he's confident that they'll have the field position and the opportunities in the second half. The watchwords were keep it simple. The main concern in the Salford dressing room, not so much tactics, but an injury to Matt Gardner. They're confident he can run it off, but he's sitting in the Salford dugout with that left thigh strapped in ice.
So that's a problem for Sean McRae. Gardner off. Kick down the sideline, and that's a better kick from Webster, and Fitzpatrick again, happy to see that one roll dead. He's done a bit too much on it, and there is a breeze blowing at the back of the Celtic side. Wiltshire almost getting away from Josh Hannay, but Hannay's defence has been good tonight, and Wilshire's lost that. He's knocked it on. He disagrees with referee Leahy. You might have a point.
Well, loss of control in possession in the first half was very costly for Salford. He's claiming that it was actually nudged out of his arm by the Crusader, who went past back in defence. And all you hope in this situation is your teammates can help you out here now for the next 60 seconds.
Damien Quinn, here's Duggan. Duggan finds Dalcourt, and Dalcourt taking on Myler. Good tackle from Myler, and well picked up by that man Wiltshire. Well, that came to nothing for the Celtic Crusaders, and it looked so promising for a moment, but there was good defence from Salford that time. But a wild pass maybe thrown by Dalcourt. Maybe he thought he was heading for the sidelines.
Well, you've seen, haven't you, just how Celtic will be dangerous. They'll shift the ball wide to wingers and centres, or find that devastating play down the middle of the field with Duggan. Either way, it's where Salford have to watch out. Now it's their turn here with Alka getting up towards the halfway line. But a bit of drive, that second effort in defence here now from the Crusaders to push him back.
Then Robbie Poore with a darting run until it's halted by Neil Wyatt. Myler stabs the kick through for Wiltshire to chase, and back goes Blackwood. Wiltshire collars him and gets him at the second attempt. Robbie Poole just there to make sure. Quinn is tackled, so Salford trying to pin the Celtic Crusaders down deep in their own half. As Barry was saying at half-time, make sure they play the game near their own try line. Webster, the scooting run from the former St Helens Academy lad. Wyatt, tackled on the 40-metre line, and that's the fifth tackle. Van Dijk stabs the kick in, and Carl Fitzpatrick well positioned and runs into his own player. I think it was Paul White who made the tackle there.
Will that count on his tackle count? Registered in there for one for Paul White.
Littler, nowhere for him to go as Aaron Summers makes the tackle.
In the opening 8 minutes, I'm noticing that The Celtic Crusaders are finding it more difficult to get quality kicks in. They got some good rewards from the kicking game. Salford working hard to pressure them.
Jordan Turner tackled just outside that Celtic 40. Here's Sidlow, once a witness. Sidlow is able to offload it and finds Brocklehurst. He's tackled by Tangata Toa. That's the 5th tackle. Myler now. Myler dinks the kick over the top, and it's Mark Dalcourt who got there first, and Myler with a good chase. Well, Dalcourt's got height and weight advantage on Myler, but the youngster brought him down. Good work from Richie Myler.
Just a bit. He put that ball in and worked hard. Chased really hard, but I want to pay tribute to Adam Sidlow. He's come on the pitch, he's got some good offloads away, some second phase, and he's almost used something in between a turn-up and an offload a few times to cause the Celtic Crusaders to come up, and then the second phase.
Well, the Red supporters outraged because that ball popped out of the hands of Jordan James, back into the hands of Jordan James, and the referee wiped the tackle count clean, and Duggan almost away, and that ball is loose, and Fitzpatrick had a hold of Duggan, and there's all sorts going on out there.
Wow!
It's taken a while, but maybe this might just ignite.
Well, there's a power surge from both teams. They reckon that with less than 30 minutes to go and just a 2-point advantage, Duggan tries to get his arm free, he loses possession, Sidlow back up, offloads it. Both teams recognise if they can get their noses in front here now with a significant score, it might help them so much now. There's been a massive physical effort. Who has the mental capacity to keep this up?
Here's Salford's Big Phil playing the ball on the 40-metre line. Jewett bouncing off one, but eventually Wyatt it is who stops him, aided by Webster. Robbie Paul, Myler will hoist this kick. Duggan, time underneath the ball, maybe too long. Oh, he's let it bounce, and it's off a Celtic player for a knock-on. And Salford will get head and feet.
Well, confusion between Blackwood and Duggan. I don't know whether it's Duggan's excuse to say what went on there. You went in front. You said the first knock on. See here, look, Blackwood goes in front to try and shield him and help him, but it's knocked forward from Tony Duggan's right hand.
An opportunity now for Salford to extend their lead. They're ahead for the first time in the game at the moment, and they're threatening now with Robbie Paul on the 10-metre line. Fitzpatrick, Jewett, Olker. Oh, and Robbie Paul's gone without it, and
that went back,
disappointment from him. Well, he's not disputing it.
You know, passing accuracy is so important. Often goes throughout a game without noticing it. But if it isn't exactly where the receiver needs it, then the whole play breaks down.
There is Robbie Paul. He's got a big night coming up next month. He's on the bill at the League at War night in Bolton, the big fundraising night for Christie Hospital and the Rugby League Benevolent Fund. And Robbie Paul will be having a demonstration boxing match with Herald Bomber Graham. I'm not sure if Sean McRae is absolutely thrilled at the prospect, but Robbie's one of the names involved, and other players out there on the night as well. Steve the Hurricane Hampson, who'll fight Anthony the Limo Sullivan, and what should be a real heavy-duty contest, Asani Faimalo against Maya David. That's to come at June the 14th in Bolton at the Reebok.
Is Tim Street still fighting?
Tim Quality Street, I think you'll find he's called. He's on the bill. Back to the action on the halfway line with Celtic Crusaders, and it's a heavyweight contest here now, that's for sure. And here's a heavyweight, and Gareth Dean. Oh, and that's a heavyweight collision with Ian Sibbett, and it's Dean who comes out on top there. Webster urging referee Leahy to speed things up. Oh, that was a tempting intercept for Wilshire. He went looking for it. Duggan clung on to it.
Well, we're seeing some great commitment in the middle, some good skill and good defensive reads out wide. John Wilshire came up. He had to make the tackle on Duggan. Here's the last tackle. This is danger time.
Jace Van Dijk, it's his turn to hoist a ball, and it's Fitzpatrick's turn to come for it, and he shows how it's done. He came for that, he made it his own.
Is that an indication that they no longer wish to kick to this player with the ball now, Paul White? They brought the sights closer infield and maybe even tempted to go to their left wing.
Sibbett. Well, these two sides have had a bit of time off in the last couple of weeks. They're certainly being made to work hard tonight.
Well, a question of desire here now for both teams. Look at the charges that some of the big fellas are putting in the middle of the field. But that's a great defensive set. In 5 tackles, Salford only made 15 metres or so.
Alka, that's a poor kick from him. Straight into the arms of Blackwood and out again. And he says
it's a one-on-one steal, and therefore Celtic have got the ball back. He should therefore wipe the tackle count back to start. As Delcourt charges through a couple of players, he's a big threat.
He's dropped that ball.
But he's given a knock on this play.
That's what you want from your team. If one call goes against you, don't worry about it. Don't spend minutes contemplating whether you should or you shouldn't got the ball. Stuart Littler puts a shot on here and dislodges the ball. Now, I think that's a knock-on. But the referee didn't, obviously.
well, it has ended up as a Salford head and feed, just about parallel with that on the other side of the field. And I think that's Delcourt who's down again. He was in the wars in the first half, it is, and looking a little bit groggy. And he did, he landed on his head, and this pitch is, as you'd expect after the dry weather we've had in the last couple of weeks, is very firm indeed. Brocklehurst now. The Reds 30 metres out, pressuring this Celtic defence once again. Luluai tackled by Aaron Summers. Jewett, Janssen with the tackle that time, but he allowed him to slip out, and then Ratchford gets the ball away. So they're camped on that Celtic try line now, and Olka almost through. Good defence from Summers that time. Myler, they're waiting for it outside, and it ricochets into the hands of Duggan, and Duggan brings it clear for the Celtic Crusaders. That was a let-off for the Celtic Crusaders that time.
Well, they've survived, and now it's the Crusaders who look under pressure, don't they, into their own line, but they're injecting some speed. Look at the dummy half runs that they're managing to get 10 metres. Do you know what, though? If anything, there's more nervousness and conservative play by both teams here now. There's more in one-out players than there were in the first half.
Jace Van Dijk finds Neil Wyatt, 20 points to 18. Well, Salford have already drawn 2 games this season. Surely they're not going to end for another draw. A long way to go in this one. As Jace Van Dijk chips that one over the top, and Lennon can't keep it in. Nice idea. Not enough room for Lennon to move in.
Inventive play, and again, great variety on the last tackle options. Okay, his foot's on the line as he touches the ball. Perhaps maybe he was even slightly in front of the kicker when it went through. But it keeps Salford on their toes. Sooner or later, one of those options, one of those plays on the last tackle, I think is going to bear some fruit from the Celtic side.
Well, of course, both these sides through to the quarter-finals of the Northern Rail. Celtic have witness to play. Featherstone will entertain Salford City Reds, and you can see that on Sky Sports next Thursday, 7:30, Sky Sports 3, that is. So Salford in action again, and that could be a tough night at Chris Moyles Stadium. I'm sure David Hobbs' team will endeavour to make it tough for this Salford side. Sean McRae knows there's a lot of tough work to be done in the last quarter of this game if they're to maintain their unbeaten record. Here's Jordan Turner. Turner kicks ahead for White to chase. Myler is chasing it. They're all chasing it. Can anybody get a hold of it? Well, somebody has done, I think. And it's Myler, I think, at the bottom of that, who's ended up in possession. Wilshire trying to burrow his way through. Quinn it was with the tackle. Here's Ratchford. Another of the teenagers in the Salford ranks. They've got some young talent at this club. Robbie Paul, still playing like a youngster, and they are offside of the Celtic Crusaders.
And they'll keep the ball alive here. I think they'll Ratchford's on the field, they've some good passes, they'll use the full width.
Here is Ratchford. Luluai not going for width, they're going for brute force. He's got one already tonight. He went looking for another one there. Now they go for a bit of width, do they? Myler, well, that was a poor pass, but it still reached Wilshere, and Wilshere has reached the try line for the try that has been coming. It wasn't the prettiest, certainly not the prettiest tonight, but John Wilshere back in the side after a 4-game absence and back on the try-scoring charts as well. He got 7 tries in the first 10 games of the season, then missed a few because of the injury. He's back tonight and he's on the score sheet for the Reds.
Well, so many of the Reds towed the ball through, and eventually it was Myler. Look, he wanted to be the first to dive on that ball on the floor. The fact that it was wiped back to the start of the tackle count gave them this opportunity. And I tell you what, the bounce of the ball has gone for Salford in this game. It's gone in favour here of John Wilshere because it's a misdirected pass to some extent. He throws the ball, it's a low one, bounces on the floor. Good show and go from Wilshere. He knows he has to get over at this stage. And it's the width, exploiting maybe some gaps. The fact that Blackwood had come up, once you're in front of the ball, you're always under pressure. And Wilshere knew that he wanted to score. They've extended their lead now to 6 points. This is a significant attempt at goal.
Well, he is valuable to this Salford side, ever present last season. He's valuable to PNG as well. He's a bit of a pin-up at home in PNG, is John Wilshere, and I'm sure he's going to be part of their World Cup exploits this autumn.
At your home?
This is in Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
And it's Wilshere who'll try and convert this. Salford doing all the points scoring in the second half. They trailed 18-14, but this to extend their lead as we head towards the last quarter. We're in the last quarter of the game, in fact. And Wilshere has pushed that one across the face of the posts. You winced, I saw you.
Because I didn't think it was possible for Salford to have 3 draws in, 3 drawn games so close together. I think that's certainly a possibility now, because I do believe, although Celtic haven't scored for some time now, it was 18 points to 8 in their favour at one stage. I do believe the Celtic Crusaders have at least another try left in them in this game. Deep kick-off by Van Dijk.
Yep, they drew at Sheffield 24-all. 3rd successive draw that was at the Don Valley Stadium. There's something about that place. Surely not again. 24-18, Salford lead here at the Willows tonight. Celtic Crusaders, who really got off to the best possible start, leading 12-0, have got some work to do now.
He's been outstanding, Phil Lulai. He's run just as hard coming away from his line as he has been attacking the line, and he's here on the ball again. He's worked hard tonight.
Even a little dummy there from Big Phil. Just inside their own half, and they certainly have enjoyed the bulk of possession in this second 40. That's the 5th tackle, and it's Ratchford who'll put the kick in straight down the middle of the field. And Lennon, bobbling ball, which he eventually retrieves, but then turns to find that there's a red wall bearing down on him.
Salford weren't able to, sorry, I should say the Celtic Crusaders weren't able to put any pressure on the kicker. There's a penalty here now to the Celtic team. They needed it because I think they're under the cosh a little at this stage.
I don't know why we have to penalise defence like that. That's just good, hard defence, that.
Well, he didn't penalise that. He was, that's my fault. I misled you there.
Sorry.
It's offside. Won't happen again.
Sorry.
Well, it probably will, but here's Budworth for Ianson. Bounces off the tackle from Luluai, and Luluai felt that, just came away holding his shoulder. Gareth Dean, once of Cardiff Demons. Dean has lost that ball, appeals to the referee, and that'll do him no good at all. Jamie Lee, he had a good view of that.
Well, this is a crucial point in this game. He believes that Jarrett pulls the ball out. The video evidence does seem to support his case.
That was a bit conclusive, I'd have said.
Well, what sort of response and reaction can the Crusaders find now? Okay, they think They've been on the end of a bad call. And now they're going to get another one here. This is a penalty to Salford. Interference at the play of the ball.
Well, that's frustration, I think, perhaps.
He just got tangled up, didn't he, once he was on his back.
So not getting a lot out of referee Leahy at the moment.
Well, so whatever they stay 6 points behind, they have a chance. It's their defensive effort here now that has to be strong.
Tackle one, move! Hold!
24-18. And Salford City Reds in possession. They need more points on the board to make this one safe, that's for sure, because the slightest opportunity, Celtic will make them pay. They haven't had any opportunity in this second half, really. Jordan Turner, tackled by Dalcourt.
Good stuff, fellas, wait there, go!
Robbie Paul, Jewett, and here's Fitzpatrick. That looked high on the full-back from Wyatt.
Go!
Jewett. Janssen eventually stops him.
This is a match-winning play-the-ball position here.
Well, it's with Myler, and it opened up for Myler, and Myler has lost possession, and they've got away with it. He must have been dreaming of glory again there, Myler, because it just seemed to open up for him, and somehow the ball popped out, and it ended up in the hands of the Celtic Crusaders, Tony Duggan. What a let-off that was.
What an amazing effort here, wasn't it? They were scrambling over. I think Darren Mapp does an amazing job there to prevent him from scoring, but they're not out of it yet. You know, Stuart Littler came up with an important interception in the first half with a score at 18 points to 8 at that time. They've just survived again, and Budworth breaks through the line up to the halfway line.
Oh, he got away easily from Fitzpatrick there, but he didn't have any support. Blackwood was trying to get to him, and now then there's an opportunity here for them, and Jordan James is away again. He's looking for Duggan. Duggan finds Quinn. Quinn looking for anybody. It's Blackwood. Across comes Wilshire. And the tackle is made by Jordan Turner. It's the last tackle. Quinn loops the ball out for Wyatt. Wyatt back in field. It's with Hannay, and Hannay is tackled, and it's picked up by Ratchford, and the chance goes begging.
What a game here, end to end literally in the last 60 seconds, and Salford have shown that they've still got the spirit and commitment to get back and hold that line. But they're going to have to work incredibly hard now for the next 14 minutes or so, because there's a surge coming now from this Celtic team.
There certainly is, just 6 points in it, and this game isn't in the bag for the Salford City Reds yet, and the Celtic Crusaders supporters here urging their side on and backing in Bridgend and Abercunnan, and back on home territory. They'll be hoping that the Crusaders can just find something in the Duggan, what a calamity for the full-back, and they don't need that. Brocklehurst gives him a pat on the head. Well, he knows what a clanger he's dropped. He doesn't need that sort of behaviour.
The ball just bounced away from him. Salford's kicks have been very good in this second half. They've put players under pressure, and whilst ever the ball stays in the field of play, you're asking players under fatigue, under stress, under duress to collect the ball. It looks simple, but they haven't been able to handle it, and again now, here's a chance to win this game for the Reds.
Littler, one try to his name already tonight. Luluai has gone off and Heighton on in his place. And here he is. And still going. Legs driving and still going. Looking for glory, Paul Heighton. And very close to it there. Robbie Paul, Myler. Myler manages to get the ball away, but it's gone backwards to Turner, and Turner scrambling. Well, that could work out for him because it wrong-footed the Celtic defence. Robbie Paul now. Well, that's got to be obstruction. Jewett was not impeding, says the referee. They come forward with Ratchford, puts the kick in, and that's going to be too strong. Out in the full.
Well, again, they've survived. He knows they can't kill off this Welsh team's hopes. And Blackwood comes in from the wing. Oh, looking to offload now.
He thought about it, very nearly did it. Wyatt. What have they got left in the tank, the Crusaders? What have Salford got left in the tank?
Well, the Reds look like a team with more life and energy at the moment, don't they? Their players are moving quicker, bouncing off the toes. One or two of the Celtic Crusaders just trying to catch their breath for a moment here as Van Dijk takes it to the line.
But there's four there, four red-shirted defenders to stop his progress. Budworth barking out instructions. Oh, and Dean, a juggle, kept a hold of it, not for long, back to Duggan. Duggan finds Beasley, Beasley for Dalcourt. Dalcourt, the kick ahead, Blackwood is chasing it, and Fitzpatrick this time comes up with a clanger. Both the fullbacks having a nightmare phase of the game.
Well, again, you put the ball on the floor, bounce it around, and you're asking your opponents to come up with a decision. Perhaps even a penalty here could have been to the Celtic side. I'm not sure it would have made much difference. Look, it goes forward, off Fitzpatrick, onto Brocklehurst. Probably a scrum's a better opportunity to attack your opponents than the penalty would be. The clock stopped. There are over 10 minutes remaining in this game. And there is at least, I believe, one score remaining in that time. Which team can find it?
So here goes Wyatt. Wyatt for Duggan, looking to atone for his error, but nowhere for him to go. Good defence in the first tackle from the Reds. Adamson it was with that tackle. Wyatt. Here's Jordan James. James gets the ball away to Wyatt. Wyatt has support from Darren Mapp, and it's still Wyatt. Right in front of those posts now. Budworth, the ball coming to him untidily. Here's Gareth Dean. Dean over the top, and it's Dalcourt who's got it, and Dalcourt gets the ball down for the try. Mark Dalcourt in at the corner. Yes. It was a toss-up between him and Blackwood who'd go for that ball, and Dalcourt made it his own. And the big Queenslander who played reserve grade at St George Illawarra and North Queensland gets his 6th try of the season.
Well, again, we've seen how difficult the kicks have been tonight for both teams. A mistake by Fitzpatrick offered them the chance to get to this part of the field, and Gareth Dean does remarkably well here. Doesn't panic, he spins the pass over the top. It's a bit speculative, but it's come off occasionally, and it's come off here tonight on this big play for them. It's given the team the try that they needed entering the last 10 minutes. Dalcourt's presence on the left has always been a threat, and look at the excitement on John Dixon. Get that into you, David.
Well, Mark Lennon has kicked 3 from 3, but those were all pretty close to the posts. This one couldn't get much further away from the post, but this to level the scores. It favours his kicking style round the corner. And Lennon has pushed that one wide. It's just wide of the target, agonisingly wide of the target. 24-22, still with about 10 minutes to go here. And this game exactly as nail-biting as we thought it might be.
Well, they say you need teamwork in this game, Rugby League. Here's a great example. The winger, Anthony Blackwood, actually pushes him back into the field to take the pass, to bounce off the defenders and to get over the line.
This game so far has been about reactions. When events have gone against certain teams, they've folded or they've rose to the occasion. Salford, for large periods of this second half, have reacted well to kicks, to errors, to offloads, and now it's a period where the Celtic team are doing the same.
On the line, hold!
9 minutes to go, 2 points in it. And Celtic Crusaders really are rattling the Salford City Reds here. The Reds battling to maintain this unbeaten record so far in National League One. Halifax looking to overhaul them if they slip up here. Halifax with a game against Dewsbury this weekend, who have a caretaker coach in place in Warren Jowett, of course, after Andy Kelly's departure. And good luck to Neil Kelly as well, his first official game in charge of Leeds Centurions this weekend.
Well, this kick takes on great significance. It's a kick over the top, charged down by Jewett.
Lee Jewett getting in the way, and that could be a pivotal moment in this game.
That's a reaction. He's worked hard to chase the kicker down, got good position with his hands, kept his eyes open and jumped on the loose ball.
Alka, Myler now, Myler, Brocklehurst finds Wilshire, back in field to Turner. Trying to bamboozle the Celtic Crusaders defence. That's the 4th tackle. Alka, as ever, at the heart of operations, directing things. It's back with Myler. Myler for Ratchford, and Ratchford saw glory there, but it was just denied him at the last. And they're on the last tackle. Myler, crossfield kick, but straight into the arms of Anthony Blackwood. And the danger is averted there, and Blackwood got a knock when he went for that ball. I think he got a kick where he went for that ball. So Blackwood is down. Quinn. And now Salford determined to just pin the Celtic side down at their end of the table.
Well, they want to smother them here near to their own line. Gareth Dean, that's 4 tackles gone. Oh no, he breaks through. It's about 25 metres from their own line. I suppose the big play here is the quality of the kick at the end of this.
Hannay, Lennon. The pass looked to be drifting out, and Lennon could be heading out here. Plays the ball, it's the last tackle. It needs to be a good kick from Van Dijk. Under pressure, gets it away and finds a bit of space between Fitzpatrick and Wilshere, and it's a tired chase, a really tired chase.
It's about the best kick of the second half, though, from them.
That was high from Hannay, and he apologises to Fitzpatrick.
Well, any quality of the kick now has just been rubbed out, hasn't it, by that, because the penalty now will help Salford away from their own line. You're always under pressure when you have the ball close to your own line.
That's a lunging tackle rather than a malicious tackle.
I think he bounced up off the ball, didn't he?
I just think Fitzpatrick's footwork just denied him a good solid shot, and he's just lunged and clipped him under the chin.
We're heading towards the last 5 minutes of this game, just 2 points separating these two sides. It was always going to be hard to call this one. Here's Sidlow.
Will it be one of his offloads or one of his turn-up plays that wins the game for Salford?
Alka. Robbie Paul. Finds Heighton. Great tension in the air at the Willows. The Salford fans know their side's been in a tussle tonight. Robbie Paul.
Well, they've made very good ground, haven't they, from that tap penalty. And with 2 tackles, have a chance to score.
Here's Sidlow. Right in the shadow of those posts. Myler. Myler finds Turner. Turner to seal the game. He's held up right on the try line. That'll be the turnover.
Well, they've made life as hard as possible here with 4.5 to go. It's 99 metres to the try line.
Well, the Celtic Crusaders have, in their short history, come up with some spectacular tries, as you can see if you look on their website, but they are going to have to come up with something extra special now if they're going to snatch this one from the Salford City Reds. Wyatt finds Hannay. Hannay is going towards the touchline, and that's great defence from the Reds. There was nowhere for Hannay to go. He got the ball back in field, but it ended up in the hands of Littler.
Stephen Latchford there has just manhandled a State of Origin player. Look at this, he just leg drives, gets him in the clinch. He has no option other than to fling the ball inside.
Sidlow will play the ball. Myler, Brocklehurst. So 3 minutes to go. Here's Heighton. Heighton heading for the corner. Alka now. Myler, crossfield kick. They haven't tried this one for a while, but that's not his best. And it was straight into the arms of Hannay.
They tend to be chips rather than high kicks that he puts towards the field, so I'm not sure it gives his teammates time to get under there and contest them. But the rest of his team here now are working to maintain this dominance of field position that they've had for the majority of this game. Gareth Dean now charging it forward, probably looking at hopes of winning a penalty or being awarded a penalty here for some interference will be their only hope of getting forward. Such is the control that Salford have in the defence.
Dalcourt was trying to get that one away. He plays the ball quickly. Did he play that one legitimately? Quinn does get it away. It goes back through the legs of Chris Beasley, and then Beasley is wrapped up, and there's a scrap going on between Alka and Jordan James, and Quinn wants a bit of it. Everybody wants a bit of it.
I saw that bubble in about 2 or 3 sets of 6 ago. Jordan James said something to Malcolm Alka. Malcolm Alka, good professional. Yap, 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 and before too much longer, something's on.
Great tries. A bit of a blue.
This is what rugby's about.
Thursday Night Rugby League has it all, doesn't it?
Thursday Night Rugby League, what more can you want?
I'm not sure whether the clock stops here at this point. Probably suits Salford the case here. Look, he's tackled off the ball, and there's the exception. But Malcolm Alka's throwing here early on, and I think this penalty should go in favour of the Celtic Crusaders. That's the big important thing for me here. Now, amazing how much energy players have still got left here with 2 minutes to go in the game.
Well, Jamie Leahy and his touch judges, Messrs Hawkes and Roberts, in deep consultation on the 40-metre line.
He's picked on the biggest Malcolm, to be fair, hasn't he?
Doesn't take a backward step.
Yeah, got you.
Well, he's actually going for his pocket.
Yeah, got you.
Is the referee, and Malcolm Alka to the sin bin for the remainder of the game. Well, minute 45.
Well, maybe there's a few more seconds still in that here. This is the incident.
Yeah, that's the thing that I saw. It's Jordan James.
I don't think that's anything that you would really object to later on.
No, but you don't know what's been said by Jordan James. Jordan James knows he needs to upset Malcolm Alka, who's the talisman for this Salford side.
He's a chance here for a draw in this match now for the Celtic Crusaders. This kick's important. Well, how much distance can he get?
Webster takes his side up to just about the 30-metre line. Then Beasley makes good progress. Salford trying to slow the ball down as much as they can. And then they're up very quickly in the faces of these Celtic attackers. And now Hannay on the burst. Ratchford with a good tackle. A minute and 20 to go. Just 2 points separating these two sides. Van Dijk. It's with Darren Mapp, and Mapp has lost the ball. It's gone backwards. It's a knock-on, says the referee. That's the game, surely.
Well, I think that, again, is a very harsh call against Darren Mapp. Can't see how he knocked the ball on there. He looked to be offloading it backwards. He's heavily involved here in the tackle. There's a bit of wrestling going on. Look, is that a knock-on? Well,
has he even lost control of it?
I'm not sure, yeah, he loses the ball, does he? It goes to ground, he still has the ball.
Well, another mystifying decision.
I tell you what, though, people who give the National League a hard time, saying it's not as competitive as the Super League. They're miles off. Look at the passion on these players in the closing minute and a half.
Well, Littler trying to burst through and finally put this game to bed for the Reds. They surely are home and dry now anyway, by the narrow margin of 2 points, because the clock is running down now on the Celtic Crusaders. They've given the National League One leaders an almighty fright here tonight, but as the hooter sounds, they've just come up short. And Salford celebrate, and they are mighty relieved as well, because they've been pushed all the way here. They led 12-0. They had the Salford City Reds rattled, and it took a courageous fight back by Salford to get home and maintain their unbeaten record. Alka showing the bruises and the blood from this battle. What a battle it's been. It has lived up to expectations, hasn't it?
Well, the games just get better, don't they, in this league? Salford showed great durability, bounced back, didn't they, off the canvas with those early scores that they conceded. And I think the speed that they had out wide with those breakaway tries from Paul White just demonstrated why they do sit at the top of this competition.
Well, consolation for Celtic is that they pick up their first bonus point. It won't be much consolation to them, but it's things like that that matter to some people. Bonus points.